What's up, guys? Young Bucks, old goats. I'm the goat, and we're watching the Heat in the finals. Of course, came up short, lost 4-1. Was watching the Panthers in the final. They went down 4-1, but for a little while there, it felt like South Florida was the sports capital of the world. We had a couple of teams in the finals. In the midst of that, Messi's coming to town, which is like if Michael Jordan was coming to your team, in that sport. We're coming off the heels of having a couple of local college teams in the Final Four, FAU and UM, of course. We just had the Formula One Grand Prix, the tennis, the Miami Open. The Marlins are holding down a playoff spot right now, a wild card spot. There's always eternal optimism for the Dolphins, unfounded in some cases, but they're coming off a playoff berth at least. And even the soccer team, where Inter Miami, where Messi's going to be joining soon, they're coming off a playoff berth, last place right now, but I don't think they're going to finish that way. But it got me to thinking, what teams did become, or what cities or metropolitan areas did become the sports capital of the world at one point? And I'm talking about teams who made multiple finals in the different sports, 4 major sports. For these purposes, we're going to talk about, baseball, basketball, football, hockey. And there's been some over the years. But even though we didn't get any of those wins, I was hoping we'd get at least 1, 2 overachieving, blue-collar, hard-nosed teams, the Panthers and the Heat. The stuff Arise is doing, flirting with 400, some historical stuff. Yes, the Heat's over. Yes, the Panthers over. The Marlins are in the mix, and of course, when the Dolphins come around, everybody's gonna join in on the fun. The soccer team with Messi, they were plus 15,000 before they got him to win. Now they're plus 1,800. So he's affecting things already. Messi, ticket prices, all kinds of stuff. I expect them to make the playoffs. They're not gonna continue to be in last place like they are. But let's take a look at what other places have been able to do. And by the way, I'm going to mention in the Marlins, we're in mid-June now. Teams are kind of like who they are already. If you got off to a hot start, slow start, by now you've evened out. And the Marlins, really good young brand of baseball, some good young pitchers. Soler's, hitting a lot of home runs. Fun team. Another thing, we had a big UFC fight here in Miami this year. Pereira versus Adesanya. We had Masvidal's last fight. Unfortunately, we can't talk about the football Kings because they're one of the few sports teams that we follow here who didn't even have a playoff berth last year. So who would have thought that, if you're talking like 20 years ago, that the one, other than the Marlins, of course, they didn't make it. But they had a recent in the COVID year, they made the playoffs at least. But who'd think that the Hurricanes, would be the ones that failed to qualify for a postseason game, 5-7 last year. So no championships, but it's definitely a fun time in South Florida. But let's go look back at some of the other cities who were able to enjoy a multi-sport dominance. And the first thing that you probably need to have is cities with all these sports, which there's only 13 cities that have all these sports. And let's take a look. Which are those cities, first of all, that have all 4? or metropolitan areas in some cases, not exactly in the same city. Of course, you got, damn, we'll do this in alphabetical order, but these damn Boston people come up first. Of course, you got the Patriots, the Red Sox, the Celtics, and the Bruins in NHL. And I will admit I don't know much about hockey. I'm starting to learn some now with the Panthers. They got me into it, man. That's a scrappy, fun team, and it's kind of cool to learn about a new sport after all these years watching all these other sports. It's kind of interesting. I always find that interesting when I get into a new sport and learning all the little nuances of the game and players and teams and things like that. Back with the list here. The Dallas-Fort Worth area. You got the Cowboys, the Rangers, the Mavericks, and the Stars. Denver area, Broncos, Rockies, Nuggets, Avalanche. Of course, the Nuggets just won one. You've got Detroit, who's got the Lions, the Tigers, the Pistons, and the Red Wings in hockey. Aforementioned Miami. Got the Dolphins, the Marlins, the Heat, and the Panthers. We're pretty recent overall inclusion to this list because pre 1988, I guess when the Heat started, we only had the Dolphins in town, and then 93 we get the Marlins, and I think the Panthers are like 90, right around that time too. Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota, Vikings, Twins, Timberwolves, Wild. Of course, you got Philly, Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, Flyers. And then you got Phoenix, Arizona, Cardinals, Diamondbacks, Phoenix Suns, Arizona Coyotes. Washington, D.C., Commanders, formerly football team, formerly Redskins. Washington Nationals, formerly Montreal Expos, although they did have a team back in the day, Washington Senators. Not sure what happened to them eventually. And the Wizards, Capitals in hockey. You got the Bears in Chicago, the White Sox, Cubs, of course, Bulls, Blackhawks, San Francisco Bay Area. We got the Niners, the A's, soon to be in Vegas, San Francisco Giants, Golden State Warriors, San Jose Sharks. And then in Los Angeles, the lineup has changed over the years. Currently, it's the Chargers and the Rams. Of course, at one point, they had the Raiders. In baseball, you got the Los Angeles Angels, Anaheim, California, Los Angeles Dodgers, Clippers, Lakers, Ducks, Kings. And sort of like the next city here, they have a lot of opportunities to do this because they got multiple teams in every sport out in LA. And, of course, they do that in New York City as well with the football Giants, the Jets, who won't be adding any championships anytime soon probably, but they are a team, so there's a chance. Got the Mets, the Yankees, Brooklyn Nets, New York Knicks, New Jersey Devils, New York Islanders, New York Rangers. Islanders were New Jersey for a while, right? My hockey knowledge is very limited, guys, so... But I could have swore that these people were out of New Jersey at one point. All right, somebody correct me if I'm wrong with that. So that's all the cities that even have a chance to have all four. You could have multiples if you have less, 2 and 3, but those are the ones that have all four. 7 cities have won multiple championships in the same year, so it hasn't happened as many times as you would think. But again, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So about half the cities that could have a chance to get all four. 7 have gotten 2. No team has ever gotten more than 2. There is an instance of Detroit in 1935 winning 3, but it was the Lions in the 35 championship, the Tigers in the 35 World Series, and the Red Wings were 35-36. New York's done it 5 times. LA's done it 3 times. Boston and Detroit 2 times apiece. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Tampa 1. A couple of notes. Only one time a city has done it twice. So New York in 1926, 27, and 27, 28. They did it. 2 sports, back-to-back years, 2 championships. Like I said, no city has ever won 2. And then it's happened 18 times in the same calendar year. Not on the list, but another note that's interesting. The only time that all 4 teams have played a final was 1980 Philadelphia. What a time to be a Philadelphia fan. 1980, the Eagles, that's Ron Jaworski, the Phillies, the Flyers, and the Sixers all played in the final. Sixers is that Julius Erving, Mo Cheeks. They finally got their title eventually, but not in that same year. Only the Phillies with Pete Rose, Mike Schmidt, Tug McGraw, and some of those guys got it. And interestingly enough, this year the city of Philadelphia became, I think, the only city to lose 3 championships, and we're extending into soccer now. So the Union lost the MLS title, the Phillies lost the World Series, and the Eagles lost the Super Bowl. So, ouch on that one. And in 2020, Tampa had all 3. They don't have any basketball there. All 3 win the play in the final. 2 of them did win. Tampa Bay, and you had the Rays played, and then the Lightning won in hockey. Okay, so here's a list of teams that have won multiple championships in 4 of the major sports in the same year. 1927, you got the New York Football Giants and the Yankees, the Murderers Row Yankees, win it. And then right next year, you got the Yankees again, and then they do the hockey, New York Rangers. 1933, you've got the just 5 years later, so like in a 6-year span, New York does it 3 times. Again, the Rangers here, and then this time in baseball, you got the Giants. So up until now, New York is the only team, and 3 times. The next time it's done after that is 1935, Lions. That's the one where I mentioned they also had the Red Wings. You got the Lions in the NFL and the Tigers. I'm sure the Detroit people miss these days. Then we go to 1938. Guess who? You got it. The Mecca, the New York Yankees. Again, this is like Gary DiMaggio, and you got the Giants in football. Get it. And then 10 years pass after this, and we have in 1948 the Cleveland Browns, Otto Graham led Cleveland Browns, win the title. And same year, Cleveland Indians in baseball. You got Satchel Paige, Larry Doby, who broke the AL color barrier. This is I think a 42-year-old Satchel Paige who's still contributing to a championship team. Bob Feller. And then we go about 4 more years, and then we get Detroit again, the Lions, and then this time they get the hockey, Red Wings win it. 4 years later, New York again. Giants in football, Yankees in baseball, New York, New York. And then we go like 13 years. Again, New York. This time it's not what you'd expect probably up to that moment. You know, if you're following sports, if I tell you New York's doing it, you know, it's going to be the Yankees or the Giants. But we get the Jets with Willie Joe Namath guaranteeing victory. And then we get the amazing Mets. You hear a lot about this team. They were just like 7 years in, I think, established in 1962. Um, and then 10 years later, you get this in Pittsburgh, the Steelers, and then you got the Pirates with Dave Parker and Willie Stargell and all those guys. And the trend that I see here, obviously, is like at least one of your two teams has to be like in a dynasty mode. We saw a lot of Yankees, we saw a lot of Giants. If you got one of your teams in a dynasty, you have a shot. Except with this Jets and Mets thing in '69, Jets are relatively new franchise as well, coming over, or they're not even in the NFL at this point, right? It's the AFL champions playing the NFL champions. Um, then we have almost a decade passes, and you get 2 years in a row. Um, after after '79, you get 2 years in a row, and these are some of my favorite or earliest. You always associate favorite with earliest sports memories. I'm like 12 years old at the time. I'm probably more into sports at that time than I am even now. So I remember all this stuff vividly. It really resonates with me. First World Series, I really remember watching, and season remember I watching very intently. Um, you got the Dodgers beat what at the time was one of my favorite teams to watch, the Oakland A's, and of course that's like Oral Hershiser and Kirk Gibson with the pump pinch hit home run off Eckersley, and you got McGuire, Canseco, and Vince Scully's calling the World Series, just tremendous. And to complete that duo, you got the Showtime Lakers. You got a little pre-HIV, or he may have. I guess he didn't have HIV yet at that point. Magic Johnson, and this is the last of the Showtime era championships. You had Magic, you had an old Kareem, Worthy, of course you got Riley coaching up, the GOAT there. Michael Cooper's playing, AC Green, Kurt Rambis, Byron Scott, Clay's dad's on that team, Michael Thompson. And then next year we're right back at it. 1989, you got Joe Montana and the Niners, and their dynasty crosses with a kind of mini dynasty. I mean, it's hard to say dynasty when you only win one title, but the A's were the shit back in that day, in that era. They played three World Series in a row. Canseco and those guys, and this is the Bay Area World Series, or the Earthquake World Series. And it's funny because the Niners win the Super Bowl, and then once it's determined that the A's and the Giants are playing in the World Series, they've clinched this thing, because whether the Giants win or the A's win, they're going to have multiple championships in the same metropolitan area. In this case, it was the A's that, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know how you want to look at that. They're gonna. It looks like they're gonna be moving to Vegas. They had a reverse boycott recently, where they decided to, instead of boycotting the stadium, filling the stadium, and everybody was wearing shirts and chanting "Sell," shirts that said "Sell." It kind of sucks to see. That'd be an interesting episode to do. Cities that lost a franchise. It kind of sucks to see a city lose a franchise. That stadium is kind of decrepit, not up to standards, and probably, if you really think about it, for the betterment of the sport as a whole, it's going to be better for them to have a badass new stadium in Vegas. And it's funny how that happens. That once upon a time they didn't want any teams in Vegas. Now you got a hockey team that just won it. They beat our Panthers. I don't think the Raiders are going to be adding to that championship tally for Vegas anytime soon. But you're going to have the A's there. The only thing you need is a basketball team now if the A's do indeed move. So it's weird how professional leagues didn't want to be associated with Vegas, either by having teams there or gambling. Now you watch a game and you're bombarded with like all prop bets and things like that. So that is interesting. And then the A's, like I said, they lost the next one to the Reds. So they played in three, but they only got the one. And this guy Joe Montana winning that Super Bowl, he was my first Tom Brady. I'm not a fan of Tom Brady. Obviously, he's always beating up on my Dolphins, but Joe gives me that memory of the first game I ever watched, and it was as a kid. It's 1984, so I'm like 7 years old, and I watched the Dolphins in the last Super Bowl appearance that they ever made lose. So, I really couldn't stand this guy. But I don't think Joe Cool ever cheated, at least confirmed like Tom. So that's wraps up the 80s, and then the next time, 11 years pass, and in 2000, the Devils in New York. They have them listed as New Jersey here, but I guess they count this as this is what I was thinking earlier. The Devils win a title there, and then the Yankees in the I don't want to say in the midst. I think this is sort of the end of their dynasty. Of course, the Jeter, Mariano, Bernie Williams, Posada, Pettit, and all those dudes get another championship there. And then now we start to have it like every odd year it starts happening. In 2002, we get Shaq and Kobe, and this is a Lakers three-peat, which is a term. We'll do a quick sidebar here. Riley coined that term. I think he got it off somebody else, but he actually trademarked it. And that's when the Showtime Lakers were trying to three-peat, and I think they got swept the third time. So the Lakers weren't able to do it with him, but they eventually did it. And it's funny because I think this is the last times that it happened, and look, it happened really right around the same era. The Yankees are wrapping up their three-peat in the year 2000, 98, 99, 2000, and I think the Lakers started theirs in 2000, 01, 02. And it had happened before. The Browns did it in the AAFC. The last one was an NFL title, so they actually did 4. It's a weird one because they weren't in the NFL for the first 3. But still, give them their props. I'm not going to count the CBA or other, let's see, baseball. Just mentioned the Yankees, they had done it 2 times before. And actually, they did it 36 through 39, 4 times. 49 to 53, 5 times. Then, of course, in basketball, you have the Minneapolis Lakers did it in 52-54. This one's just freaking insane. Celtics, 59 to 66, 8 titles in a row. Never going to see that again. Pretty sure. Never going to see that again in any sport, I don't think. Too much free agency, too much competition, too much talent. And, of course, everybody saw The Last Dance. The Bulls did it, 91 to 93, 96 to 98. And then right now I'm talking about the Lakers. Professional football or National Football League, the Packers did it. And this is when there was no postseason, 1929 to 1931. And then the Packers did it again, 1965 to 67. They won, of course, the first 2 AFL championship games, Super Bowl 1 and 2, NFL champions in 65. So that's just a little sidebar on the three-peat because that came up. And there's a lot of teams that have tried, but that's another show. The Lakers are the last team to do a three-peat in any of the professional sports this era. 2004, I hate this one. This is my least favorite. But, with the Patriots dominating football, um, assisted by certain things here and there, but, this century, it was bound to happen, right? Their paths was going to cross with Celtics, Bruins, or Red Sox, and it did. And in 2004, not only did the Patriots win, but these damn Red Sox down to the Yankees of all people in the American League Championship Series, down 3-0. They come back, bloody sock, all this bullshit. It's just back in my gambling days. I kept doubling down. Well, down 3-1, they're going to lose. Nope, they win. Double it up, they're going to win the next game. Nope. Double it up, they'll win again. Nobody's ever come down back from 3-zip. Nope. Double it down again in game 7. Nope. So probably worst sports year of my life there. I lost my ass. 2009, Steelers and Penguins do it 5 years later. And then 2020, the Lakers beat the bubble Heat. This is where COVID era here, which is a lot of weird stuff. You had the Lakers and then the Dodgers, and then I think this is the only time you had in the calendar year. It happened 2 times, different cities. So you had Los Angeles with the Dodgers and Lakers, and then you had 2021 Tampa Bay, and you had the Lightning, which apparently infinitely beat the Panthers in the playoffs. You also had in a calendar year the Colts and the Orioles, 1970, 1986 Giants and Mets, and 2018 godforsaken Patriots and Red Sox. You look at that picture of that damn kid. I think it's like I'm 16 years old. I've seen 11 parades, and he's got that damn poster at the parade with all the championships he's seen. And it's an embarrassment of riches for them. But I think that kid kind of cursed them. I think they may have gotten like one other championship since then. It's been like 5 years since Boston. Fact check me on that, but I think it's been like now 5 years, which doesn't seem like much, but at the clip that they were doing it at one time, Jesus, they're in like a little drought, if you could say that. Say that to a Dolphin fan, they'll kill you. But regardless, we lost those 2 finals. He, amazing to get that far, barely made the playoffs. Some people were saying don't even, you shouldn't even try to make it.
Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it. That's the great thing about sports. You play to win. And I don't care if you don't have any wins. You go play to win.
Screw that, man. You play to win the games. They played tough. They did what they could. And the Panthers also likely an 8th seed, They did what they could. Shout out to Kachuk. Hope he's healing up. And I will be watching some more hockey next year. I'm going to make a point of that because it was fun to watch those teams. Hopefully, hey, this is not over. The like I said, the Marlins are in the mix. Crazier things can happen. The Dolphins maybe could do something. So, you never know. So, that's pretty much all I got for cities becoming the sports capital of the world. I know we got a lot of things going on in Miami. I told you about some of the teams who actually did win multiple titles, and it's just fun when you're in a city and all the teams are sort of in the mix, and then you got some other major events. Miami, different times, with different sports, even boxing, not so much lately, has been in the mix with a lot of these things. So as a sports fan, it's fun when there's stuff going on in your town and you're just not, we haven't gotten to experience that in a while. So it was fun and it got me thinking about this. Hope you guys liked the video, man. Sub it up if you can, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.